Namaskar. Welcome you again to Sporting Angels Educational Spectrum. In the last videos, we talked about power sharing, specifically the vertical power sharing among different levels of the government. In this video, we shall further focus on this form of the power sharing, that is Federalism. Federalism is thus a system of government where power is divided between a central authority and the various constituents of the government. Could you get my point? Federalism is a system of government in which the power is divided between a central authority and various constituent units of the country. Usually, a federation has two levels of government. One is the government for the entire country, that is usually responsible for a few subjects of common national interest. The others are government at the level of provinces or states that look after much of the day-to-day administering of their state. Both these levels of governments enjoy their power independent of other. In this sense, federations are contrasted with unitary governments. Under the unitary system, either there is only one level of government or the subunits are subordinate to the central government. The central government can pass on orders to the provincial or the local government. But in a federal system, the central government cannot order the state government to do something. State government has powers of its own, for which it is not answerable to the center. Both these governments are answerable to the people separately. See, the funniest thing is, both the governments rule over the same set of people, but they are answerable separately. They have their own powers. That is the beauty of the federal system. Let's look at some of the key features of federalism.
There are two or more levels or tiers of government. Different tiers of government govern the same citizens, but each tier has its own jurisdiction in specific matter of legislation, taxation, and administration. The jurisdiction of the respective levels or tiers of government are specified in Constitution. So, the existence and authority of each tier of government is constitutionally guaranteed. The fundamental provisions of the Constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of government. Such changes require the consent of both the levels of government. Courts have the power to interpret the Constitution and the powers of different levels of government. The highest court acts as an umpire of its disputes arise between different levels of government in the exercise of their respective powers. Sources of revenue for each level of government are clearly specified to ensure its financial autonomy. The federal system thus has dual objectives: to safeguard and promote unity of the country while at the same time accommodate regional diversity.
Therefore, two aspects are crucial for the institutions to function in a federal system? Number one, governments at different levels should agree to some basic rules. There should be an agreement between them. Number two, they should also have mutual trust. They should to abide by this agreement. An ideal federal system has both aspects: mutual trust and agreement to live together. The exact balance of power between the center and the states or the provincial governments, it varies from federation to federation. See, before we talk further about how this federation among different federations was achieved, let's first go to the map of the world and see how many countries can really be called federal. Let's have an eye on the world map. See, apart from India, the federations are United States of America, Canada, Brazil, Argentina, South Africa, Australia, and of course Russia, Belgium, Switzerland, right? So all these countries, you can have an eye yourself, are the federal countries. There are two kinds of routes through which federations have been formed. The first route involves independent states coming together on their own to form a bigger unit, so that by pooling sovereignty and retaining identity, they can increase their security. This type of coming together federation include the USA, Switzerland, and Australia. In these two kinds of federations, first one being the coming together federation and the second one being the holding together federations, in the first category of federations, all the constituent states usually have equal power and are strong vis-a-vis the federal government. The second route, where a large country divides to divide its power between the constituent states and the national government, India, Spain, and Belgium are the examples of holding together federations. In this second category, the central government tends to be more powerful vis-a-vis the states. Very often, different constituents of the federation have unequal powers. See, even in the case of our country, India, there are some states which have been given special powers. Some states of the Northeast, Article 371, and of course the article which was in news recently, Article 370, J&K. So it is with every federation that the different units of the federations may not have equal powers, they may have unequal powers. Some of the constituents of the federation may be given special powers. That is how the different constituents of the federation are accommodated together. It depends on how at the time of coming together or en route the holding together, what are the conditions they talk, it depends on that. So here we complete the first part of federalism. I advise you to watch this video twice, understand each and everything, including the definition of federalism, the main features of federalism, and then of course which are the countries which are federal, and of course the two routes of how they got federalism. There are two routes. One is the coming together and the other one is the holding together of the federations. You will understand. I'll give you some exercises tomorrow or the next day. Till then, keep watching. Wish you pink of your health. Thank you.